What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to TRU RAIDER Podcast. I'm your host, TRU RAIDER. Now, I want to talk about this awful, meaningless win toilet bowl game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Raiders were sitting in the number one pick Sunday morning, and all we had to do was lose against the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Chargers in the next 3 weeks, and we get the number one pick. We get to choose whoever we want at quarterback or whatever it may be. Now that we've lost, now we're in a position where we have dropped all the way to the number 6 pick, and that's not going to be where it stays because the Titans and the Jaguars are still going to play each other. When they play each other, one of them's going to lose, and we're going to be able to move up a minimum of one pick as long as we lose out the rest. If we still play the Saints, and the Saints don't even have Derek Carr, there's a pretty high possibility that we might end up winning that game. And if we win that game, we're going to drop probably to like pick number 10. But right now, if we go ahead and lose against the Saints and we lose against the Chargers, Titans and Jaguars are going to play. One of them is going to fall behind us, and we'll move up to probably the number 5 overall pick. Now, being at the number 5 overall pick is not really a great spot to end up with a quarterback. It's predicted right now that the top 3 picks are going to be Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Cam Ward. Now, there's already speculation that the Raiders are going to be even more aggressive to move up and get Shedeur Sanders than we were with Jaden Daniels. And that is just ridiculous to me. Jaden Daniels is by far a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. We're going to end up in a position where we're trading away future draft capital to move up and get Shedeur Sanders when all we had to do was lose. All we had to do was lose the last 3 games of the season. We were already on a 10-game losing streak. All we had to do was lose 3 more, and we can go ahead and go get Shedeur Sanders without having to give up draft capital. Now we're in a position where we might end up trading away, and it's projected that it would cost our first round from this year and our second round from this year and our first round from next year. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have that much faith in Shedeur Sanders. I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a good quarterback. I think that he's the quarterback that we should have picked if we were going to get the number 1 spot. Now, for us to give up, basically we'd be swapping first round picks this year, giving up our second round pick this year, and giving up our first round pick next year. And I don't really think that he's a quarterback that's really worth that much value. I'm pretty concerned about what that looks like for this franchise moving forward because Tom Telesco has proven that he can go ahead and draft some good players with these high draft picks. In this last draft, in the first round, we got Brock Bowers, who just passed 1,000 yards. He's about to break the all-time rookie tight end receiving record. He's actually going to probably break the Raiders' all-time receiving record, receptions, right? And then second round, we got Jackson Powers-Johnson, who has proven to be an amazing center. Our offensive line as a whole looks completely different just with the addition of him. And then in the third round, we picked up DJ Glaze, and he ended up at right tackle because of injury, and he kind of just held on to that right tackle position. Now, I'm not going to say that DJ Glaze is a superstar, but I do believe that he is a starting caliber right tackle, and he's doing an excellent job for us. He really is. So for us to give up our second round pick and then also give up our first round pick next year, I really believe that Tom Telesco would pick up some really good players with those picks, and to give those up to get a quarterback that we could have got just by losing, it's driving me crazy. Now, Mark Davis was in the locker room, with Daniel Carlson and AJ Cole, and he was smiling and laughing and celebrating. Everybody seems to be very happy about this Raiders win inside the locker room, and I'm not really sure why. I know why Aiden O'Connell is happy about it. because he stands a chance at maybe getting another crack at being the starter, which would be, I like Aiden O'Connell, but I don't think he should be our starter. I think we should have started him this year instead of Gardner Minshew. That way we could evaluate and just see his progression. But, that's neither here nor there. That already passed. Now, for Mark Davis to be so happy right now, to be celebrating this win, really just kind of makes me believe that, one, he's either very naive and he does not realize the implications of this win and how much it's going to end up costing him in the long run, or there's some kind of other plan in place. Now, Deion Sanders was on the Rich Eisen show, and he said on there that during Shedeur Sanders' podcast, Shedeur said that he wants to get drafted higher than his dad did. His dad was the number 5 overall pick. Now, with Jacksonville and Tennessee Titans playing each other, we're going to end up moving to that number 5 pick as long as we don't win any more games. And I could see him maybe being in a situation where he'd be happy to go ahead and do that. But I think that us dropping to number 5 takes the Raiders out of the conversation of Shedeur Sanders being drafted. And, that really sucks. And, there's people that are speculating, okay, well, what if these other teams go ahead and win a couple games? Maybe we'll jump back up. And the likelihood of that is very, very slim. The Browns don't look like they're going to win. The Patriots probably are not going to win. We're just in a situation where we're going to have to get right with where we're drafting at. Now, every year, this whole thing happens with quarterbacks where they say only these 2 guys are going to go in the first round. And then all of a sudden we get to the draft, and all of a sudden these other quarterbacks start gaining more draft stock. We saw this happen last year where all of a sudden J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, we started having all these quarterbacks going off the board when we were told it was only going to be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May. So I'm really interested to see how the draft stock comes up with these other quarterbacks. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be one of the guys that kind of bumps up maybe a Jackson Dart. And we're really going to see, there's a lot of talk about Dylan Gabriel, which I think he's undersized, but, there's going to be other quarterbacks that enter the conversation, and we're going to see what this ends up folding out to be, because other than that, we'd have to look in free agency. And right now in free agency, it's looking extremely dismal. There's very few quarterbacks out there that are worth trying to get, and then their availability is not going to be that great. Justin Fields is one of them. So is Russell Wilson. The Steelers are probably going to retain Russell Wilson because he's really proven to be better than Justin Fields. But they might really want to hold on to Justin Fields to the best of their ability. So he might not be available, and he's not really that great. He's a good quarterback, and I'd be happy to have him. But, he's not Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, that's for sure. And then we also have Sam Darnold. And if the Vikings make a pretty deep playoff run, they're going to have a conversation about holding on to Sam Darnold. Not to mention that Sam Darnold only really excelled because it seemed like he just ended up in the right fit. And who's to say that what our offense looks like next year if it would look that great with Sam Darnold? Do I think Sam Darnold would be an upgrade from Aiden O'Connell? I definitely do. Definitely way over Gardner Minshew. I don't think Gardner Minshew should take another snap as a Raider ever again. I would hate to see that. And really, besides that, there's not really any other quarterbacks that I'd even really entertain. Something that some people are talking about is the potential of the Cowboys moving on from Dak Prescott, and the Falcons, now that they're starting Michael Penix Jr., maybe they move on from Kirk Cousins. And that's definitely a possibility. That's something I could see happening. But unless these quarterbacks get cut, we'd have to give up draft capital in order to get these guys. Now, I don't think that they'd go for a whole lot of draft capital, but I would really hate to give up any picks and then go and pay these guys these huge contracts that they're getting paid. We have a whole lot of cap space. We have $108 million in cap space. So I'm really interested to see what we're going to end up doing with that. Um, if we went and we got some kind of veteran quarterback and made a decision that we're going to roll forward and not draft a QB, at least in the first round, at pick number 5, I'd like to see us get Ashton Genty. This guy is an amazing running back. He's being compared to Barry Sanders. I mean, he's definitely could improve the game of any quarterback that's there. We have Brock Bowers. We have Jacoby Myers. You add a good running game to this, and then all of a sudden we're having a whole different conversation on how well the quarterback's going to be able to perform. But you guys, let me know in the comments. What do you think that the Raiders' best move is going to be with securing a quarterback? Should we, move up in the draft and trade away future draft capital? Should we sign a veteran? Should we roll forward with Aiden O'Connell and just get the best player available? You guys let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.